camera.
Yeah, we're having a conversation,
Okay.
and then there are times I'm going to say, you know something, you need to tell the audience, and that's when you go directly to the camera.
Okay.
I've been doing this for 48 years. Welcome to the Today Show.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You know, I got many, many, many talents.
I know, and that's a blessing.
It is. It is. It is. Steve, when you give us a cue, we will go ahead and get started, sir. And one of the things that might happen, you might want to go by the door because I know a few people normally come in earlier. Hello there. This is Walter August Jr., the senior pastor of the One Church here at Bethel's Family. It's been a minute since I came and put a shining light on a particular area of ministry or business. Today, in the month of August, just happened to be Black Entrepreneur Business Month Appreciation. And I'm so excited about today because there's so many things that many people don't really understand about Black businesses and how we need to integrate, how we need to continue to promote, and also to work collaboratively to promote this in a more generic way. In 2004, it was started by an individual by the name of William Templeton, first name John, and Frederick Jordan. And it was an opportunity to go back in and pull businesses together for one of the main reason was to work across the aisles, across the board, to begin to help build each other. And since that time, you can imagine there has been thousands of minority-owned businesses started just because these two individuals had it in their heart, not just to do their own business, but to promote this business across the land and across the globe. Today, I'm excited. I do have somebody that I believe that is one of the greatest entrepreneurs right now in the city of Houston, matter of fact, for the state, and may be impacting the nation in more ways than one. We have Miss LaToshia Norwood. She's the founder of the She Said Foundation, and also she's the managing partner of L. Renee and Associates. And I'm so glad that you're with us, and I know we have done several events with you before. But if you don't mind, thank you for being a part of this. And on behalf of our great host, Miss Yolanda Williams, who actually is director of the Black Business Ministry at the One Church at Bethel's Family, thank you for being here. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit more about you and what got you to the point to even create a foundation for minority-owned businesses with a specific focus on women.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a blessing to be here and to be a part of the ministry, but there's still more work to do.
Yes.
So L. Renee and Associates, we're a project management consultancy firm, and so we work with government agencies, large corporations, cities. We mobilize our project managers and our consultants to manage multi-million-dollar projects. And so it looks very different. Project management is industry agnostic, so we don't necessarily just work with a particular sector in business. Our clients range from oil and gas to technology to large Fortune 500 corporations to nonprofit agencies. And so it affords us the ability to really implement strategy and to help to improve operations across the board. And so it's really been a blessing for now 15 years to be able to grow this business. And while growing, several years ago, 10 years ago to be exact, women were asking for me to be their business coach and mentor. And quite honestly, I felt like I didn't have time because I was still trying to grow my own business. But I felt like it was disrespectful to do nothing. Because when someone's asking you for help and they're willing to be honest with you, to acknowledge that there is something that they need, you can't ignore that.
Yes.
And so I decided I was going to host a dinner for about 15, maybe 20 women and share with them the resources that I gained access to, some lessons learned that I gained along the years, with hopes to be able to encourage them and to give them access. And I kind of started mobilizing and moving, and I found out that Congress had just recently designated October as National Women's Small Business Month. So I approached the Urban League and the SBA and I said, hey, I'm going to host a dinner for a few women. Do you want to come and join me in talking about the resources that are available for small businesses? And of course, they said yes. And in less than 3 weeks, we mobilized and raised over $40,000
Wow.
of products, goods, and services to host what was then our first dinner, where it was an invite only. And what started out as a mission to reach about 15 to 20 women, we touched almost 200 women.
Wow. Wow.
And I wanted to make sure that this experience was really not just about this great experience, because I'm sure you know that, you can go to an event and it feels like a pep rally.
Yes.
Everybody's
Yes.
excited. You feel good. It's almost like going to church and they say, boy, pastor preached.
Yes, he did.
And, but they can't tell you the scripture. They can't tell you any talking points, but they just know they felt good.
Yeah.
And I didn't want them to come to this event and feel good and leave still empty
Yeah.
and looking for their answers. And so I'm dating myself here, but I wanted to make sure every woman went home with a USB full of a business plan template and cash flow and profit
Wow.
and loss statements and strategies that they could plug in and use. And so we moved very quickly to do that, and we brought in women who were able to do what a lot of these women were aspiring to do, to start from nothing and to grow to be a multi-million-dollar company.
You say something that I want people to hear you on this,
Sure.
because I know you did not start where you are.
Yeah.
And so can you go ahead and give even women that are listening, tuning in, they're in high school, young girls, there are first-year college students, they are working at Walmart, but it's not that they're not smart and they can't do what you're doing. Kind of share your journey from high school to college a little bit more, so we can let people know you didn't start in the ivory tower.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great segue. So I want to just quickly transition that point. We wanted to bring these women together and to encourage them to understand that we're not competitors, we're compadres, and it's not competition. We have opportunities to collaborate together. And so this dinner meant more than just an experience. It opened their eyes to there are things that you can do and that I can do together, or ways that we can support each other. And so we've been able to grow this for 10 years, and now we touch thousands of women. And so to those that are, like you said, maybe you're in high school or you are in college, or maybe you didn't even go to college, you're in a professional environment. I think that recognizing that you have value is the first step.
Look at them and tell them again.
Yeah, you have tremendous value. And I remember walking into a job interview for a position that everybody thought you're not qualified for. Even the gentleman that I was interviewing asked me the question, I'm looking at your resume and I don't see any skill sets that tells me that you can do this job. And I looked at him very directly and I said, I'm more qualified than anybody you have on your staff. And I meant it, because I recognized that although I didn't, based on, the boxes that he looked to check, it didn't look like it lined up. But what I knew that I brought to this company and what I knew that I could bring to this position was far greater than what he even could see. But I could see it. And it wasn't an arrogant comment. It was a position of confidence. And so I would tell you, everything that you're doing, you have to look at it like equity. The same way that somebody buys a house and they sell it and they are able to take the equity out and roll it in, you have to think about yourself and your skill sets and what you bring just like that equity. Maybe you're good at communicating. Somebody might say, oh, you talk too much. That's a great skill set. Or, you are just, oh my God, you always have all these questions. That's because I'm inquisitive. That means I'm paying attention. And that's a skill set that is valuable that you need. And so I would say take a step back, and I need you to draw a list and start writing out all those things that you're good at. All of those things that make you unique and special. And start to really understand the value that brings either to your own company or to someone else.
Yes.
And don't discount that value.
One of the things that the founder of the creators of the focus on August as being Black Business Month Appreciation was to celebrate not only what is happening currently now, but to go all the way back even to the 1700s.
Right.
And one of the things that I realize even now is that a lot of people who are in business today did not just get there on their own. There have been people that have been speaking in their life who have built bridges that we're still riding on today. Who are some of your mentors? Who are some of the people you looked up to as you were building your brand and following what God has placed in your heart to do?
You know, I think that mentor is a term that's used interchangeably so often. And sometimes you assume that a mentor has to be someone that you see in the physical, somebody that you have immediate access to. But you don't necessarily have to have a personal relationship with someone to learn from their experiences and to be able to pull from, you know, the things that they've done that inspired you and to use those things, I say, as fuel. And so along the way, you know, my mentor was my mother. I saw her sacrifice, and I saw her work, and I saw her work ethic. She was, you know, a person that made the programs for our church. I saw her with a typewriter in the middle of the night, early, you know, in the morning, typing and changing out the ball and changing the font and laminating the programs. And I saw her beam with joy when everybody picked up that 3 o'clock service program and thought, man, this is beautiful. But I know the woman who did that. And I know the sacrifice that she made to do that. It could be, you know, a manager who I saw, you know, that was just really good at recognizing the value in their team and recognizing that not everybody brings the same skill sets. Everybody's not going to be a star player. But how do you bring the best out of people? How do you understand, you know, just all of the things that make things work? And so I just started picking up little pieces, but I also paid attention to the stuff that pissed me off too. The people that didn't treat you well, or, you know, systems that just didn't make sense. And I think that everything is a learning experience and a learning opportunity. And so when I decided that I wanted to start my own company, I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't even know what the services would be, but I started creating a vision board. I didn't even know it was called a vision board, but I started creating this vision that I had, and I started reflecting on those things that I like to do and those things that I saw value in, and I was able to take all of those things and to roll it into my firm.
One of the things that I often share about us, people of color and culture, is that if you remember the game Monopoly, and if I remember that game correctly, the table board game, the players, they all started with $1,500. You got that up front, and you played the game. For African Americans coming out of Civil War, coming out of Reconstruction, and coming from the plantation, the Jim Crow, and all this other stuff, the majority, upwards of 99%, had to play the game of life, but they didn't get their $1,500 to start, or they didn't get their, 40 acres and a mule.
Right.
And so anytime you see any black business, whether it's barbecue, whether it's the barbershop, whether it's the beauty shop, or whether it's in Fortune 500 companies that's being led by African Americans, you need to know that's a miracle. And you don't have to be the big boys in the corporate room. You can be the woman that has opened up a hair braiding center, or even a barber school, or even you can have a restaurant. And so I share that because sometimes we don't see black businesses as being successful because we're looking at it based on what's happening across the street, if you will.
Yeah.
But how would you speak, or what would you say to those who missed out on that narratives that we've always been successful? We just haven't got the credit for it.
Yeah. I think that there are so many pieces of that to unpack. When you think about the lifespan of $1 in every community and how long it circulates, African Americans, just based on pure data alone, we are leading the charge in economic spend, right? But we don't always lead in the amount of money that we make or the amount of money that we generate.
Yes.
And so the economic power that exists within the African American community is much larger than what we give ourselves credit for, right? And that we have the ability to have tremendous impact on any business, whether it's a Black business, a minority-owned business, or a business in general. But I think we have to care more about our dollars and supporting organizations and businesses that support us. So I think that if we start paying more attention to the economic power that we absolutely have and that we can use to infuse that capital into businesses that appreciate us, that are made for us. And I'm not saying that you have to be prejudiced in terms of where you have your dollars invested. But I think that if we start thinking about ways that we can help to invest in other businesses and to make sure that, they can stay afloat, I think that we can start to really move the needle. But on the other side, I would also say that it is imperative as businesses, as CEOs, that we continue to improve our businesses and to receive the education and to be able to position ourselves to grow and to be available for those customers that come to us. I think that sometimes as business owners, we're so head focused into the business that we're not thinking about the customer experience. And I will tell you, you are not the only show in town. People will leave you fast.
You better say that again.
They will leave you fast. I want to give you a quick example. When I worked in corporate America, I was working actually for a local television station here in Houston. And one of my clients was a church. And I was on my way to meet with the pastor and all of the executive team about a campaign that we were working on together. And I was going to buy several dozens of donuts. And this was at a time when you couldn't plug it into your phone or your GPS. I had to print a MapQuest printout to give me directions on how to get there. And so I remember it was a torrential downpour that day. And it took a lot for me to get to this donut shop. I won't give the name of it, the donut shop that I needed to purchase it from. And it's raining. I'm fully suited and booted. My hair is done. I don't want to. So I'm trying to figure out how do I get in because they didn't have a drive-through. So I walk in and the person behind the counter ignored me. And so I waited and they walked up and she was like, can I help you? And I said, yes, I'm here. And she walked away. And she went and grabbed a bag and she started trying to prepare for, I guess, maybe 1 or 2 donuts. But I was planning to buy about 10 dozen. So I said, well, no, actually. And she dropped everything and she ran away. And I'm looking around, I'm like, I'm being punked. I know I am. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, I don't want to go off on her because she could be a member of my church. And she said, you're on the praise team. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, I got to make sure I'm careful about this experience. And so I said, no, I want to buy several dozen. And she was like, and she kind of blew me off. And what she didn't understand is the cost of a customer.
Yeah.
And what she didn't understand is the several $100s that I was going to spend. If you multiply that times, if I came here every week. Yeah. Times the 5 to 10 people that I'm going to tell about this experience, although it was only a couple $100s here, what that bad experience represented was several $100,000. And so I want to be very clear to say, as we're talking about supporting Black businesses and supporting minority businesses, you also have to recognize that you have a responsibility as well. You have a responsibility to make sure that your product is top tier, that you are doing the research and understanding how you're pricing, that you're understanding your customer experience, and that you value and you recognize the value that each one of these customers bring. So I think that on both sides, we have a responsibility, and there's a call to action to support minority and Black businesses, but it also is a call to action for minority and Black businesses to make sure that we're positioning ourselves for that as well.
But it also opens up another door, and I'm sure through the She Said Foundation, there is a training development module attached to that to help these business owners understand there need to be a level playing field from the employees that you do hire. You need to make sure that you're paying them a wage that will give them a responsibility that they are a face to your company, they are part of the brand, they are part of the family. How important is it for employers to treat their employees as members of a family?
Yeah.
So it's not that just the business owner is making all the money,
Yeah.
and I'm stuck here making minimum wage.
Yeah.
And whether I treat you cordially or whether I, be like that person that served you, my check gonna be the same at the end of the month. And so what would you speak to that business owner that do have employees? And if you have a high turnover in employees, is it really the employees or the employer?
Yeah, that's a great point. And I will tell you foundationally, we as small businesses, particularly minority businesses, we don't have the advantage of this succession plan where someone has, a legacy business has been handed off. There are some legacy businesses that have sustained over the years, but, with all of the things that happened, over the years, many of our profitable Black businesses didn't survive, right? And so we don't necessarily have the institutional knowledge that comes from having a CEO that can hand over a book of business and talk to you about it. So many of us are bootstrapping our businesses. We don't know how to hire. We don't know that we have enough capital to do that, right? We don't know what the salary or what the hourly rate should be. We don't understand tax. We don't understand how to dig into the numbers and price our products and services. We don't know those things. And so that's what the She Said Foundation does with our conference. We bring the experts to the room. This is not a place or a space where you have to feel embarrassed to say, I don't know. Even though you've been in business for 15 years, maybe foundationally, you don't have the structure that you should have in business. Maybe you're still operating as a DBA and not an LLC or an S Corp, and you're getting the benefits of that, right? So there are all these little nuances that, yes, you can Google it, you can use ChatGPT and all those things, but you still need to make sure that you are surrounding yourself and you're tapping into the resources that you need. So I think that every business should have an all-star team. I'll give you an example. I have a business banker. I have a broker for my insurance. I have an attorney. I have a CPA. I have all of these people that make up my team. And I don't have time to meet with all these people. I want to bring them all together. So when my business banker was talking to me about some of the things like an infusion of capital or, getting a line of credit and all those things, those are things that you're an expert in. Yes. I'm an expert at what I do. But I'm going to bring all these people into the room to say, I need all of you here talking to me about the impact it's going to have in all these different spaces to make sure that I'm making the best decision. And so that's what the She Said Foundation does. We don't have, this big conference that allows you to come in and take these beautiful pictures. We want to bring the experts into the room to teach you. And I will tell you that sometimes we don't think we can afford to have an attorney. You don't realize that you can afford to have an attorney until you need one. Yeah. And then it's too late, right? Yeah. And so I'll give you an example. We have tracks. So there's a start, grow, and scale track. People that are in that start phase are between 0 to 3 years in business, right? And so the interest that you are thinking about when you are trying to hire somebody, the advice might be, maybe you don't need to hire someone because you don't have the capital and the cash on hand to do that. Maybe we need to figure out a way to automate, or maybe you need to bring in a virtual assistant. Maybe you need to figure out contractually how you can get the support that you need so that you can get yourself to the next level of growth. People that are in that growth phase, sometimes they're between 4 to 7 years in business. And now you really need people, right? So maybe not hiring them as a W-2, maybe you need to hire 1099s. Yes. So how do you structure that? And then those people that are in that 8 to 10, now you got to start hiring people. You need a W-2 employee. So how are you going to pay them? Is it going to be hourly? Is it going to be salary? Are you going to base it based on commission or based on some sort of merit base? So there are all these nuances that if you don't have a mentor, to your point, or if you're not tapping into the education and knowledge that you need, you're just bootstrapping. You're just figuring it out as you go. And many of us did. Yeah. And I will tell you, I've been so tremendously blessed to be successful in business. And I feel so thankful to God that my journey has been what it has been. But I feel a sense of responsibility. It's not enough for me to succeed. It's not enough. I could ride off into the sunset
Yeah.
and be on a beautiful yacht having a wonderful
Yeah.
time. But it's not enough for me to see other businesses and other women struggling. It is my responsibility to make sure that the same resources that I have access to, the same knowledge that I have access to, I want to give it to them. I want to make sure that they tap into it as well.
And how would individuals get in contact with your organization, your conferences? Would you go ahead and give them that information on how to connect with your organization, your foundation?
Sure. You can log on to shesaidfoundation.org or shesaid.org. We have an incredible conference that's coming up on October 1st. It's going to be at 713 Music Hall if you've never been there. It is one of the newest and most incredible venues in the city of Houston. And let me just say, I went out on a limb, Pastor August, and I put my own money up to buy out this venue because I feel like we deserve it. We deserve to be in a space that is absolutely extravagant to be able to get this level of knowledge and experience. And no shade here. I don't want to go to another event in the vestibule where you're giving us rubber chicken and vegetables and starches. We deserve to get headline speakers and knowledge and information, and that is what we want to bring. We're kicking off National Women's Small Business Month. We have this incredible venue that we cannot wait to love on you and to give you access and to give you the knowledge and experience in an environment that you don't have to be ashamed, you don't have to feel uncomfortable. We're going to be dressed in our power suits and sneakers, and we're coming ready to show you how to mobilize and how to do business. And even if you're not in business and you just want to be a part of a movement and an ecosystem of women that will support you, She Said is where you need to be.
What a blessing. Now, do you take text messages? Can they, or what is the easiest way to contact? If they can't get a hold of LaToshia Norwood, who would they be able to contact to talk to a person about your organization, the foundation?
I will tell you that I have a team that we meet with every single day. Your messages, your information will not go into a black hole. I promise you that if you connect with us on social media, whether it's LinkedIn or it's Facebook or Instagram, you will get a warm human person. It's not going to be a bot. You're going to get somebody that's going to follow up with you, that's going to answer your questions and give you the support that you need. And we want to. That's what we are here to do.
And that's one of the greatest things about my role as the senior pastor of the One Church at Bethel's Family. We have always promoted businesses, especially within our own culture. And when you operate like this, we can't get to this space without doing business. And a lot of people assume sometimes that church is just all about preaching, teaching, singing, praising, and worshiping. But when you have building, you have structure, you have insurance, you have costs, you have employees, you got so many other things that people don't see that need to be that business side of the church that is regulated not only by the church and the Holy Spirit in God, but we also have tax laws, federal laws, business laws, banking laws that we have to actually submit to, which include internal audits. And so we do have a responsibility to the businesses, and that's why Ms. Yolanda Williams is our business directory managing director. You can definitely go to the OC Business at BethelsFamily.org to get information. Let me give you that again. OC Business at BethelsFamily.org. You can get that information on how to connect your business, and you do not have to be members of the One Church at Bethel's family. You can be anywhere in Texas, anywhere in this nation, anywhere around the world. If you want to connect and connect even with, She Said Foundation, because thank you for also being, you and your husband, Will, for being proud members of the One Church at Bethel's Family.
That's right.
And so we do have a lot of entities that are here, but do connect. But let me also, I normally throw out Miss Yolanda Williams' cell phone number. I often do that in all my staff. I'd say, listen, everybody have my cell phone number, but I want them to be available to you. You can contact Miss Yolanda Williams at 832-654-0804. She would be very responsive to get back with you quickly, to bring you in the know. The other thing I want to share, and I have Miss Norwood give her last minute of encouragement and also prayer for what's coming, because we do know as these cuts, these tariffs, the changes in benefits, Medicaid, Social Security, all the unknowns, it is directly impacting the black and brown communities. That's why right now the Democratic state lawmakers are not in the state, because of the infusion of another level of what we call marginalized black community, marginalize our gifts, skills, and our talents, and our collective bargaining. And so please give Miss Yolanda a call. We'll have some other information for you. We want to continue to build. We have a 251 unit apartment complex that we're building, and we've also invited individuals to come and invest. So you not only just be a renter, but you need to look at multiple streams of income. We're going to do a part 2 or part 3 down the road on this, because there's so many layers that we have to focus in. That's why it's August being Black Business Month. It shouldn't be 1 month. We need to do this year in and year out, every single day, 365 days a year. We have to be focusing in on developing and implementing and encouraging black business development in minority-owned communities for the most part. But also I want to share this. Even though we might be African American based on pigmentation and ancestry, we still will work across the aisles, because we know we live in a real world, and we have to interface with other sectors of our society. But when we show up, we're showing up to show up and show out. And so we're not coming to people begging. We will never do that. We're not coming to be a subservient. We will never come to do that, and we never will show up to be inferior, never at all, because we do bring intellectual capital to the table. We do have the ability to think outside the box with some of the greatest entrepreneurs, the greatest inventors. We have some of the greatest minds on the face of this earth. So when we're coming full force. And then the other piece I will say, when it comes down to business etiquette, we have to do a better job of presenting ourselves to the highest level of dress, so far as hygiene. It's things I shouldn't even have to go into, because sometimes I do experience individuals that want to be in business, but you're not business ready. And it's not an embarrassment, but it's just straight talk. So we're going to have to come back and have some other conversation. But I'll have you give the last word before we pray us out.
All right, sounds good. So there are a couple things I want to say. Through this conference, there are over 2 million people in the city of Houston. Based on the MSA, 4 million. We want to reach 1,000 women. We want to reach 1,000 women not because we're looking for financial gain. We want to reach 1,000 women because we know that women are starting businesses at a faster rate than men. We know that women of color represent 42% of new business interests that are developed. And we only represent 13% of the U.S. population. But when we look at gross receipts, we see historically that women of color are not crossing the 6-figure mark in their revenue within business. What does that mean? That means that she has to mobilize her business, pay herself, pay her staff, take care of her family, and doing all of those things that makes it very impossible for her to do. And so I have a call to action for all of you. Every woman that you know, tell her about this conference. This is an opportunity for you to help to create legacy for years and years and years. Because we know that there are women that are starting businesses, but unfortunately they're not doing it in a way that allows it to be sustainable and scalable. And so I am asking for churches. I'm asking for organizations. If you have women that are a part of your congregation, you are seeing right now the erosion of programs that for whatever reason they're being seen as a handout, and it's not. It's a way to level the playing field. But we are going to have to diversify the way that we generate revenue. The company that you feel has your best interest, that you are locked and loaded, that you're going to be with them for the next 25, 30 years, you're not sure how technology and AI is going to impact your ability to stay in this role. So you're going to have to figure out ways to diversify your income, whether that is to start a business or to scale the business that you're currently in. Clients that you've had, based on all of these regulations that are in place, are going to start drying up. What are you going to do? You've got to have a plan. You've got to have a strategy. And that is what we represent. That's what we want to help you do. We want to help you to get locked in to understand, how do you do that? How do you support other businesses? How do you scale your own business? How do you hire people? How do you make these decisions? What do you need to be paying attention to with tax laws? These things are really important to us. So I hope to be able to be a blessing to you. That's what's really important to me. Thank you for this opportunity to come and to share more about me and my company and the foundation. And I also want to lastly say, I don't take salary or revenue from this foundation. This is truly ministry. So the work that we're looking to do to reach these 1,000 people is not because we are looking to generate revenue for us. We want to help you generate revenue for you.
Wow. And, you know, we can go on and on and on. So we're going to have a second segment. It's going to come hopefully maybe next week to continue to keep this moving forward. But you said a whole lot. And one of the things that we need to do in black business, we have to also invest in the business that we're in overall. But we'll be talking more. But thank all of you for tuning in. Please share this particular segment with friends, family. And again, this goes out to any and everybody that can connect with these particular ministries and organizations. So thank you so much for that, for a moment where we put spotlight on black businesses. And we do know our best is still yet to come. But Heavenly Father, we just thank you. We thank you for this privileged opportunity to focus in on black businesses. And thank you for Ms. Norwood as she continue, God, the work that she's doing through her foundation, and also with El Renee Associates as a managing partner. And God, it's just inspiring. It's inspiring, God, to hear her passion, her heart, her dedication, and the sacrifices that she's not willing to make, that she's already making to impact thousands of lives. And let this particular conference that's coming forward be overwhelming, over the top, that even what she dreamt of, it would even exceed that. And so, God, we love you, we cherish you, we honor you, God. It's in Jesus' powerful name we pray, and we say amen.
Amen.
Thank you so very much. You did an excellent job.
Thank you. My
You've
pleasure.
been trained well.
Thank you. To God be the glory.